the idea of Toothpari, and said the idea is so good, you should base it on a 1 hour film. So great that he said that. So this was kept aside, and it just stayed there, and I made a pitch deck out of it. If you have to put it to a platform or even to another producer, you have to make a pitch. It, mota mota kya hota hai in one season, which are the main characters. See, if someone doesn't like your show, they will not find you and say, "Arey kya bakwas banaya hai." That's unlikely. So those who are not liking the show, they are not getting in touch.
Hi Pratim, welcome to the first conversation we're having with you. We are having from CineWall. Super excited to have you and thank you for accepting the invite. How are you? Just want to make it very free flowing. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling great. It's been a couple of weeks. My first ever release, Toothpari on Netflix, released on 20th, and it's been exactly 2 weeks. And it's been number one on Netflix for 2 weeks in a row. It's been number one across all platforms for these 2 weeks. So it feels great. Uh, it was a bit of a gamble. It was kind of an experimental show, a show about humans and vampires. It was a kind of a risk, although it is not one of the so-called big budgeted tentpole shows of Netflix. It was a medium-sized show in terms of budget, but it was still a risk to make a show which has fantasy, which has two worlds, which doesn't have any so-called big stars, uh, you know, like many of their other shows have. Uh, but still, for the show to make such an impact, kind of reach out to so many people and so many people loving it, is a great feeling as a creator, as a writer, director. So yeah, I'm very happy with that.
Great. I want to know how has your day been post release? Like once in the first few weeks, as you said, it went trending. You got the first few reviews. How has your life been? Is there a difference there?
There is a difference. The first thing that happens when I get up in the morning is, and I, switch on the data on my phone, is I see bunch of messages on Instagram, on Facebook, and on Twitter, and they are mostly very glowing and very. See, if someone doesn't like your show, they will not find you and say, "Arey kya bakwas banaya hai." That's unlikely. So those who are not liking the show, they are not getting in touch. But those who are loving the show, and there are quite a few of them, they are finding my ID on these social platforms, following me, and getting in touch with me, saying that what an experience it has been, and thank you for making a show like this. India needed a show like this. So it's a great feeling to start the day, and then through the day you're getting phone calls from people in the industry, because I am from primarily from Calcutta and the Bengali film industry. Before Toothpari, I have made 7 Bengali feature films. So a lot of people that whom in Calcutta have been calling up, they've been watching it, and some new acquaintances that have happened in the Bombay film industry. They have also been getting in touch and wishing me after having watched the show. See, unlike a film where you get the reaction instantly, for a series which is 8 episodes of 45 minutes each, it takes time. A lot of people watch it over an entire week. A lot of people watch it after 10 days. So it's been scattered. Initially, obviously, a lot of people binge watched it. So the first week, the reactions were even more. And now it is kind of coming in groups and patches. And it feels nice. And the days have changed. And I hope to get back to a normal day where I can get up, have my coffee, and go back to writing rather than just reading reactions and reviews. Yeah.
I am that one person who found you on internet and okay, who is and then followed you. Twitter as well as on Instagram, and then it came to my head because when I started watching the show, this fourth episode
Yeah.
I took it, watched it on the break, like a morning and night and everything. And the last four episodes they were like a proper bitch. It went it started and
Right.
I couldn't break it because the cliffhangers at the every last 2 minutes to the first part of it was keep it it kept me glued to the
Yeah.
entire series. Yeah, let's
Right.
go a bit back to your filmmaking journey, to your to how you became
Yeah.
a filmmaker. I would like to know how did you enter the world of films? Did you always wanted to go, and how was that first introduction into filmmaking world for you?
So I studied films as part of my graduation. Uh, Apart from mass communication and English, I studied films. Film studies बोलते हैं एक subject जो होता है at St. Xavier's College in Calcutta. And even when I was studying in college, I started freelancing for Times of India, Calcutta. I started reviewing plays. I started interviewing film actors. And then after Times of India, after I graduated, I joined the Telegraph, which is the highest selling English daily in all of East India, not just Calcutta. And I started, apart from writing features and interviews about cinema, I also started reviewing films. So that made me spend a lot of time on the sets of films. Like one of my first assignments was covering the shoot of Parinita, Pradeep Sarkar's Parinita. And I spent a lot of time in Siliguri and in Calcutta, just being there on set and watching Pradeep Sarkar in action, watching Saif Ali Khan in action. And unlike most people who find it very boring to spend time on a set, I liked every minute of it. Even when there was no shoot happening, just setting up a shot, just the actor preparing himself, or the director explaining something with the POP. I enjoyed every moment. And somewhere I started, hatching a dream of wanting to make a film myself. So the first step that I took was to start writing scripts. I read a lot of scripts online, of my favorite films because I had already watched a lot of films as part of my film study course. And I was a member of the British Council Library, and every day I used to come back home with a DVD. At that time, DVD still existed,
Yeah.
and I used to come back home with a DVD and watch at least one film every day. And then I started reading scripts. See, if I loved Pulp Fiction, I would read the script of Pulp Fiction, which is available online, and try to understand how the writer, Tarantino in this case, approached the script and what then it became on screen. So this was my schooling, and the practical classes were the sets that I used to visit, and I started writing a script. One of the first scripts I wrote, it was called Stardust. It was about a rising movie star and aging movie star, and their battle. And it was very amateurish, childish script, but that was, unless you write something, you will never know. And then I wrote a script called Vanish, which was a serial killer script, which got selected for the Open Doors program at Locarno Film Fest. So for the first time, an outside body or an outside person validated that whatever you are doing is not juvenile, it is worth something. That gave me a lot of confidence. This was 2009, and my first feature film finally happened in 2011. I shot 2012 it released. It was a Bengali film called Paanch Adhyay, and it had Dia Mirza in the lead. Dia's mother is Bengali, so Dia always wanted to do a Bengali film. It was her first film. It didn't do well at the box office, but that first film happened, which is a very important thing. People who are lucky enough, their first films are success, but people who get their first films out of the way, that is also a success in many ways.
Yeah.
Even as all this was happening, I kept my day job. I kept reviewing films. But what I did was, because I was making Bengali films, I didn't review Bengali films. I only reviewed Hindi films
Okay.
so that there is no clash of interest. And then my next film, which came 3 years later, was for Saheb Bibi Golaam, not
Yes.
based on the original book. It was a completely new story by me about a hitman, about a prostitute, and a taxi driver. And that became a big hit, and that was picked up by Netflix. That was 6 Filmfare Awards. After that happened, I quit my journalism job. I kept freelancing now and then, but I quit my job and I solely got into filmmaking. The next film was an even bigger success. It was called Maacher Jhol. It was a box office success. It also was selected for Panorama and for South Asian International Film Festival in New York. So that kind of these two films kind of set the ball rolling. And ever since I've kind of gone on to make more films. Some have worked, some have not worked. Till 2000, when the pandemic started, uh, I started pitching ideas to OTT platforms, and Toothpari was picked up by Netflix. And it has taken me 3 years to make Toothpari, writing one whole year, 2000, 2001. We did the pre-production and shooting started. 2002, shooting ended. It's been one full year of post-production and finally released.
That's a great journey, especially when you said the first film, which the only lucky ones get that, first feature film made, irrespective of the
Yeah,
success or how the thing goes, it gets the ball rolling. And then you, as a
yeah,
filmmaker, people might not know or might have different opinions. You, as a filmmaker, just get some thoughts straight that, okay, now I know what to do, what not to do, and how to get it.
correct.
And Toothpari took around 3 years, as you said. Can you take me to the
Yeah.
origins of it? How did the idea came up in your head, and what was it? What was it pitching to be different people, and how did the entire story constructed?
So I had just that one line idea that what if a vampire breaks her teeth, her tooth, and she doesn't have a dentist in her clan or community, and she has to go and meet a human dentist. And if there's a love story between the two of them. So this is an idea I had. And the other idea I had was if there were two worlds separated by a manhole and an upstairs and a downstairs. So these two ideas were separate and somehow one fine day it struck me what if I merge these two ideas and kind of make one cohesive series out of it. I approached, see, the first time I tried to make Toothpaste was just a love story as a 1 hour short film for Sujoy Ghosh. Sujoy Ghosh was making 3 1 hour films for Star Plus or Hotstar, not Star Plus, or Hotstar. And the idea was to make three supernatural stories. So he was directing one himself. There was another director for the second story, and the third story was directed by me. So I had pitched to Sudhada the idea of Toothpari, and he said the idea is so good, you should base it on a 1 hour film. So great that he said that. So this was kept aside, and it just stayed there, and I made a pitch deck out of it. If you have to put it to a platform or even to another producer, you have to make a pitch. It, mota mota kya hota hai in one season, which are the main characters. So I made a deck and I went to Endemol. I went to a couple of other producers also. Uh, they liked it. They kept it with them. Only when the pandemic started and everyone was at home and there was no such rush, I reminded my friend Meraki and Endemol that why don't we start pitching it now? Everyone is at home, they will read it. At the most, they will reject it. So it was at that time that, Endemol pitched it to Netflix and they really liked the idea. And they said, "See, we are not greenlighting the show, we are greenlighting the development. You develop a Bible, a proper Bible, where you tell me every episode what is happening, detail in detail. Uh, write out the characters in detail, and also give us the first episode. So they had just greenlit the development budget. So 3 4 months, me and two other writers, we got into a writer's room all over Zoom because the pandemic was happening. So Sambit Mishra, Nandini Gupta, and me, three of us, we brainstormed and we made the Bible. And they loved the Bible. And in early 2021, they greenlit the show. So that is when the other seven screenplays were written out. And as we started pre-production, which was in around I think May or June of 2021, we started getting the Hindi dialogue stuff, and that's how.
I can imagine when you pitch the first episode, it would be it would have generated certain intriguingness or curiosity because as soon as you pitch a plot that okay, there's a world of empire down underground,
Yeah,
and then that they are fucking like they are targeting the person, and then because I have recently seen the show, I could just relate to the excitement that okay, एक बार पहला एपिसोड देख लिया, फिर साथ के लिए तो obviously बोलोगे कि हाँ, just build on it because as soon as we enter, there's a very neonized theme, and the
yeah,
entire world of vampire makes you curious. Oh, वो just thought कि ये क्या है? As a very OTT viewer, I'm saying that
right,
show that as you started, as you mentioned in the start, that like you where it was the success was like very exciting because there were no big star casts that you had. But
yeah,
in the same way, as a viewer, if I share, when you enter the show with the same thought, that, okay, इसमें star cast नहीं है, but the plot is quite exciting. And as soon as the person gets into that vibe of, okay, this is the vampire's world, there's a lady, Ashwata, Tilotama, and then the entire world that grabs you. It just makes you excited that, okay, let me go to episode 2 to see मतलब आगे क्या करने वाला है. And then it leads to
right,
3, 4, and then at the end I literally wait for like season 2 because the cliffhanger, which I won't say right now, that you
right,
have left us with, that okay, what will happen now? Because the last three
yeah,
seconds,
yeah,
where again the two protagonists meet, is where we again start
yeah.
the thing, right? So, how did you build the entire world of vampires? What went into the construction? Because there's a need of a theme, there's a theme like a Blade Runner, like a thing, a disco bar, what we find a fight that okay, if vampires chill, they should chill like this. They would be chilling like this
Right.
because we don't know how it happens. So, what thoughts constructed you like held in your head while constructing the book?
So I wanted to give the feeling that because we were all going through lockdown at that time, in a way for me the vampires are in lockdown. They can't go upper, they are stuck niche. So this AD character played by Adil Hussain
Yes.
is going to give them a experience where you feel like you do not need to go upper. So I wanted to treat that world like a resort. Like वो resort में you are locked, but it's such a beautiful resort. There's a blood bath, there's a casino, there's a gym, there is a pool that we see behind. There is security. There are games that they play. So I wanted to give the feeling that it's so comfortable and so nice. There's constant supply of blood from the hospital. So you do not need to go outside. So that was the thought, and of course, the thought was because the show is the concept of the show is so wacky, so wild. Why not keep going wild rather than doing something traditional? The idea of a blood bar where the cats have fatty blood, diabetic blood, cold blood. It's just a play with ideas. Just a lot
Yeah.
of great ideas that we came up with during our writers group session. And the whole idea was it, to go wild, to have fun with these characters, so that the audiences also have fun.
And the very plus one for you as a director is you really grasp people to your like you really say to the audience that welcome to my world here in just first 30 minutes that okay you are in Pratim's head and you're going to have fun. Let's start. But that's how exciting the entire zone becomes. And then when we say different worlds of the downside and the upside of the streets of
Yeah,
Calcutta and everything.
I forgot to mention in terms of the look, we wanted two very different color schemes. Uh, for the world upstairs, it's got a very warm
Yes.
feel because the love story largely takes place upstairs. So for the love story, we wanted a golden, orange, yellow, warm kind of a palette. And for the world downstairs, we played with purple, red, blue, a colder palette, just to differentiate between the two worlds. So visually, you know exactly where you are when I directly take you inside in the middle of the
Yeah. When you say the world upside, for me, I'm from Gujarat. It became a postcard
right,
from Kolkata. I've been to Kolkata
right,
only twice in my life. I have been a proper tourist because I was quite young with my parents, one with my friends. So there
yeah,
were any few places that people say idhar jana, idhar jana. And then as a cinema enthusiast, I saw Piku, I saw certain other films. So like frame बैठ गया. But this entire series became a proper postcard. Like I could take out the frames and put up my Instagram and send it when he liked it. Okay, Pratim, Kolkata featuring from Pratim's POV or Toothpari's POV.
right.
So how was that? Can you share elaborate more about that? Like how did it like? Did you like certainly decided okay I'm Kolkata में करने वाले like we will build this entire world in Kolkata due to any restriction? It was your own choice. And how was the entire thing setting up?
So my idea was very simple that because have born and brought up in Calcutta, I know Calcutta really well. And because I've shot 7 films here, I know a lot of locations. We have Reiki, so many locations in Calcutta. Of the 7 films, almost all of them are set in Calcutta. With with a few outdoor locations here and there, but most of them my Bengali films are set in Calcutta. So now, also for Toothpari, I wanted for my first major Hindi project to shoot in a place where I am most comfortable, so that I can showcase the world my favorite location. And the idea of these two worlds, the idea of this fantasy nature of a show, it goes so well with the texture of Calcutta. It's difficult to imagine a world like this in a Bangalore, or even say a Delhi, because somehow there is a mysticism, there is a faded nature in Calcutta, which I don't find in other cities. I may be partial, I may be biased, but I
I
really don't
agree.
find it.
As a tourist person, I agree. You don't find that in a very humorous way. We mentioned that it's as a filter in Calcutta that you don't find anywhere else.
Yeah,
When you roam around and you
correct.
just roam around the city, there's a filter to your eyes that you won't find, and that comes automatically. You don't have to take a camera; it's just your eyes. You observe the city, you go to the streets, you go to the taxis and everything. There's an automatic filter that comes to you.
Absolutely.
You don't find anywhere else.
Absolutely. And because we were always in the middle of the pandemic, as I said, 2020 to 2023, all the three major waves of COVID happened. So I had most control in Calcutta. So I wanted that in case things go wrong, I have something to fall back on. And even when we shot that major climax sequence, uh, shooting was not allowed during the night in Kolkata. But because I know people here, because my production manager knows people here, we were able to pull it off. So that kind of comfort I really wanted in such a difficult climate. And so choosing Calcutta was a no-brainer. And I can assure you that if I make a second season or if I make anything else in Calcutta, you will see even a better Calcutta because here I was really stifled because of the ongoing COVID. I had to, like, I had 20 locations, I got permission in two because everyone was avoiding crowds at that time. So I have just scratched the surface of Calcutta in Toothpari. There's so much more to shoot.
You said if you make season two, I really wish you make
Yeah,
season two. The cliffhanger they have dropped, yeah, hold us on. And if not, if you feel that it was just a scratch of it, as a viewer, I request you to make something that just shows the entire potential of your vision of Kolkata. Calcutta, sorry.
Right.
Uh,
I want to talk briefly about season two. Everyone is asking when is season two. So, I don't know what the general perception is, but season two of any show, especially in India, it is never pre-commissioned like in the West. In the West, a lot of shows are planned to at least 3 seasons correct. It's not like that in India. And in India, it's not just how the first season is doing. There are many other factors. The production company, the actors' availability, the budget feasibility of the show. So on what terms we ended the first season. You know, I can, if it gets, if I'm spoiling someone's viewing, let it be, but I'll say that season one ends with Rumi being a superpower
yes.
in a way. Correct. So if there is a season two, from the first scene, we need to see that superpower.
Yes.
So that automatically puts the budget of the second season to in another league. Because now she has the power. I can't have her just talk to people, say good, just smile and kiss her
You just
way.
can't drop back to love story again to start with.
Correct, correct,
Yes.
correct. So it's not an easy call. Of course, we are going to, it's something which is on the cards, season two. But it will also mean that for the next 3 years, I will not be able to do anything else. That is also not fair on someone to keep someone locked for 6 years with just one story. So let's see. There's a lot of discussions and decisions to be made.
You answered a one very important question that I was going to ask you off the recording. That okay, because in my head it
Yeah,
was a conversation between Luna and Rumi ended because when the climax was happening, she said,
yeah,
"तुम्हें पता भी है तुम कौन हो?" Like, do you know who and where you are? And suddenly she attacks and the things go into the like it fast
yeah.
forwards to the
But but
sound. So
but
in my head,
she says that line. She says that line after one line.
yeah,
The line
तुम
before that
कहाँ
is
पैदा
also
हुए
very
हो? Yes.
important.
Yes. That
Correct.
and I because courtesy to watching it already, I went back. I thought I missed something. That okay, does she
Yeah.
answer? Does she acknowledge the expression? And it doesn't. So in my head, I had it like as when you accepted the interview. In my head, I will
Yeah.
ask you off guard without any spoilers that okay, there is something in her
Yeah.
that I had to find it, but like I had to understand that I didn't. I like that fill in the blanks before without any context. Gladly you did. Talking about Luna, Rumi, and everything, the casting came extremely flawless. Everyone was just on point. My favorite character being Sikandar Case, the comic timing, all the frustration, all the sadness, especially the dance, the frustration. I don't know if I term it dance or the frustration that the grief that he
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
expresses and everything. And second being Tanya's Rumi and then Sakura. How
Yeah.
did the casting end up? Like, how did you go with the casting as a creator?
So we auditioned for Rumi and Raj because the idea was to take two newcomers or largely unknown faces and to populate the rest of the cast with known faces. That was the initial idea because I'm casting for a vampire. If I take a known face as a vampire, then there may be people who would have accepted. And I'm randomly seeing that this Tanya Malhotra of Dangal, if you suddenly saw her as a vampire, maybe you are thinking of her image in other shows and films, and that might have been a problem. So I wanted a relatively new face when a suitable boy had happened, but it wasn't. It was in English. It wasn't so popular for me not to cast Tanya. And her role in Flames also is in such a different zone altogether that she was not glamorous in that. And her audition was very strong. She brought that beautiful balance of that she can be wild, yet she has a very soft face. I
Yes.
didn't want the audience to ever hate her because at the end of the day, she's drawing blood from humans. She's fighting humans. I didn't want the audience to hate her from the first episode. So that made Tanya a very strong contender. For Shantanu also, the audition was good. Then we did a look test, and we found that they were looking very interesting together.
Yes.
And Shantanu had spent the first 16 years of his life in Calcutta. His Bengali was very clean, and everything put together made a very strong case. Although Gangubai hadn't reached yet, I just felt that there was something very infectious about his nervousness. So much of Dr. Roy is nervous, anxious, and he looked really, that bit looked very attractive when he's nervously trying to
There's an
approach
intuitiveness or something.
Rumi.
Yeah, there's an intuitiveness. There's something you feel that okay, what is he exactly trying to do, or what is he thinking? And that nervousness like
Yeah,
resonates that. And you said you wanted quietly unknown, like incredibly unknown face, but I'll just share a
yeah,
very uh, fan message. It could be a fan message. I clicked on watching Toothpari. I got to know what about Toothpari in a much more better way because I follow Tanya from her plays that came on Prime,
correct.
like PBS production. And from a suitable boy, I became an admirer. And okay, in my head, it became a thing that whatever she chooses, she thinks about the project a lot and she delivers to it.
Yeah,
Right? Like if you in a marketing way, she got a like I as a viewer got onto Toothpari because of her. And the first episode was a very mesmerizing one for me that okay, she delivers this at par. And I hope
yeah,
she gets all the accolades from the internet. I guess she is getting because it is being trending since few weeks.
yeah.
Yeah. I'll now move on to your like choices of cinema. What do you like? What do you as a filmmaker subscribe to? What kind of film do you watch and everything? So I want to know when you made your first film till now. Did is there any change in terms of the films you see or the films you enjoy or you subscribe to?
Yeah, it changed a lot. I was, in film studies, you watch all the black and white classics. You watch the Purusa, you watch the Chaplin, you watch the Ritwik Gautam's of the world. But as you grow older, as the world around you changes, you realize that now, as a creator, I cannot afford to make something just artistic. There has to be an element which will keep the audience engaged. Because when I am browsing through Netflix or on Amazon, I'm trying to find a show which has a story to say rather than just some artistic merit. So, with all due respect to the Chaitanya Samhanis of the world, a quote or a disciple, they are great cinema. There's one way of telling a story, but it has an extremely niche audience. I was
Yes.
part of that niche audience, but as a creator now, uh, I do not have that luxury. And I will say something a bit controversial now, but what the heck, it's good to hear all kinds of views. So I'm sure, whatever I'm going to say will be taken in the right spirit. Jubilee is a great show. I don't know whether you've seen Jubilee.
I
Jubilee
see.
is a great show, but, but it's not an easy watch. You know, it
I
takes
agree.
its time. You know, it kind of you have to savor it. You have to give yourself a lot to get what is there.
Yes.
So now I'm not sure that I am in a mental state, even if I can make a show like that. Motwani is one of the best directors, if not the top directors of this country. But if I could make a show like him, if I had the budget, if I had the artistic sense, if I had a script like that, I don't know whether I would make something like that. Because if I am struggling to watch and I'm like pause करके थोड़ा बाद में देखता हूँ, अच्छा second episode कल देखूंगा, maybe I wouldn't like to make something like that. You know, Toothpari may not be artistically as high. I don't know that. That's for the audience to decide. But you can switch it out because you may not like supernatural. You may not. But I would never let you kind of get like touched to an episode. Either you will like it or you will not like this whole world, and you can switch it off.
Yes.
So the luxury, I think it is kind of going away. The best shows in Indian uh, OTT, I will just tell you, it's a great time to share. Uh, Daily crime, it doesn't waste time anywhere. It just moves, especially the first two. Patal low, gripping, tense, fast moves, scam, rocket boys, made in heaven. These shows, apart from their artistic merit, they have a certain kind of pace to it. I
Yes.
think that is very important in today's time to not let the audience look for the mobile phone and go to an Instagram reel or pause and come back later or go and have a chat with friends. So that is the challenge now.
I understand because from a user perspective, yes, sometimes it happens that we trying to distract ourselves to different things because we in head we get the fact that okay we know what's going to happen or we wait that okay something interesting has to happen तब तक मैं मोबाइल देख लेता हूँ पॉपकॉर्न बना लेता हूँ वगैरह वगैरह and in the current OTT era it also becomes a challenge I feel for the filmmakers part that they have to think always that okay am I gripping them enough or am I not making them feel distracted to anything because as you said, grip and take it move like
Right.
going to the end of it, right? That makes the people stay on it for a longer time. You shared few of the series. We'll come back to them later in a proper way
Yeah.
in the next question. But right now, I want to ask, what kind of films do you watch? Like,
So I usually take a director. If I have liked the director's film, I kind of want to go through their entire filmography. You know, so when I like a David Fincher, I have seen everything he's made. His obscure films, his blockbuster films. If I like a Coen brothers, I've watched their rare films, Hudsucker Proxy, Blood Simple, everything. Not just No Country for Old Men or everything that they have made. So that way I understand how a particular director, his thought process, his way of telling a story, whether there is a distinct signature. So that is how I approach it. When I first saw Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, I had to see everything by Richie has made. You know, when I saw this in Bruges, so that same guy has made Banshees of Inisherin.
yes,
You don't know how the same guy has made this. And that is very interesting to me. That is why Fincher is such a great director. He can make a seven, and he also can make a Zodiac. Both are serial killers, but that's different films.
different ones, yes.
Yeah, so that is what is fascinating to me, and I watch everything and anything. But films which I'm watching to kind of understand the craft, study the storytelling, it is usually I take a director and I go through the director's entire film.
Okay. Uh, we have a somewhat taste in common. I am a big David Fincher fan. Yeah, that's something in common. Now, the wall, like from a perspective of wall, I'll say one of our main features is that we make and share collections of films that people could relate to or be influenced by. And we would like to create a collection top like collect recommendation of Pratim's top 10 movies that you would recommend for a filmmaker or a cinema enthusiast first that they should surely watch. In a way, I would title it Collection of Pratim's Top 10 recommending movies. Right?
Can I recommend only series? Because I
Yeah,
jotted
anything,
down.
anything over the internet that that you can discover on all. But top 10 things that people should surely watch, recommended by Pratim. Anything.
Okay. So I jotted down. I knew you were going to ask this question. So I jotted down the series, only English series, because Hindi series everyone kind of knows.
Anything.
And some of these series that are jotted down are also very popular series, but these are the series I think everyone kind of should watch. So I'll start with Breaking Bad. I'm not going to give the reasons. I'm just saying.
Would have
So
a part
both
2 for you
Breaking
for the
Bad.
reason.
So done, done. So Breaking Bad and its prequel, Better Call Saul. I recommend both. That they are both by the same makers, but such different kinds of shows is very fascinating. And whoever wants to make that should definitely check out Better Call Saul. It's a different style, much slower, but it is a great character study of Saul Goodman. Really. Then we have Barry. I love Barry. Uh, Barry was on Hotstar. I don't know where it will come. I hope all the HBO content comes
To
somewhere.
cinema
I heard,
in 1 month.
I heard, yeah, I heard it's coming to your cinema. So Barry is about a hitman who is wanting to be an actor. It's got brilliant dark comedy and it's lovely. Uh, then we have Ozark, another great show just got over, and it's got this amazing actors, especially the young girl who plays. So I think she's won Emmy for everything. So good. Julia Garner. Ozark, Succession again, HBO. What a show! I think one of the greatest shows, and kind of modeled on Rupert Murdoch, but I still don't know how they shoot that show. It feels like kind of got a slight documentary feel to it because the camera just goes crazy, as if the camera doesn't know who will speak next. It gives that feeling and it follows the character, but the quality of performances, it cannot be the first take. So obviously there have been multiple takes, but it's shot in such a way that it feels like they're saying their line for the first time. There are some great shows on Apple TV. My favorite shows there are Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso is my kind of a show which makes you feel very good. It makes you believe in humanity. It makes you believe that there is goodness in the world. So Ted Lasso. Then there is a show which no one much talks about, but it's a great show. It's called Slow Horses. It has Gary Oldman, who is leading a pack of agents who have been discarded from MI5. So all those who couldn't become James Bond and was completely delisted from the main MI5 has been taken into a separate house in a separate group, and the group is led by this drunkard played by Gary Oldman. It's very funny and it's also a thriller. So that is must watch. And there's Severance. I think Severance a lot
Yes.
about last year. Severance is a show which can taste your patience because only in the second or third episode you really understand what is going on. But it's a great concept about what a lot of us are actually in real life. That we are something at home. When we go outside in the world, we are someone else. So that they have done in a very sci-fi format. I really love it. These are my main recommendations. And when I'm having dinner and when I don't want to think or concentrate a lot, there are some shows which I play on loop. One is Seinfeld, one is Office, and there is my cringe show is a show called Two Broke Girls. I think it is very funny. and it's a little cringy because of the nature of the show, but it's a lot of fun. I also forgot to mention White Lotus. I love White Lotus, which is another HBO show. So that's quite a bit. A lot of the shows I think people have already watched, and I think the ones I mentioned which people might not have watched is Barry and maybe Slow Horses. So those two, if you haven't watched, please check it out.
It's like a 7 on 10 for me because seven things that you said, yes, been there, seen that thing. Apart from the James Bond reference that you said, two broke girls and one more.
Yeah.
I was waiting that you somewhere in the eating time shows you will include Modern Family because I have
Yeah.
Seinfeld, Office, and Modern Family in my part.
Right.
But you
My
took
wife
you
is a big fan of
two broke
Modern
girls.
Family. My wife watches Modern Family and Beef and BoJack. BoJack, Beef, and Modern Family are her dinner shows.
Look,
Yeah.
yeah. Modern Family is one of the shows that it's a virtual hub for me anytime, for any mood, anything.
And
Great.
you can start any episode anywhere. And you don't have to find a particular episode. You can start anywhere.
Yes. And
Even
one thing that happened, one thing that when I started into this field of cinema, interviewing, writing, and about it, one thing I was quite young back then, and when I got introduced to Modern Family, my head spiraled to the fact, only one fact for like 2 to 3 months, how the hell could people write this show so nicely? Because it has message, it has comic, it has everything. And there are quite some shows like that, but still Modern Family is my young age thing that okay, Pokemon to Pokemon देखने का kind of it for me that okay, it has wonderful writing in the world. Great. We'll move. I will create a collection of yours. I'll share it with you. I will create a link of it as well, and we'll share it with the world, with your fans, people who admire Toothpari should know what kind of things you see and everything. I'll move on to the next activity. As in, my team will join with the mobile app that is our wall, and we'll just ask you a few filters about movie recommendation and what kind of things you will see in terms of genres, if IMDb scores matter to you, that, and movies, web series, वगैरह. And we'll just see what's your taste in movies via wall. Fine, you just take 2 minutes. Please go to home. Yes. So Pratim, here's the wall main page. Please go to filter, Aditya. Uh, please select your things, Pratim. Movies, TV shows, both. All services on internet. Any language preference you have apart from English and Hindi?
English and Bengali.
Yes. Anything else?
No, that's fine.
Great. Any specific genre? Please scroll to make you see all the genres.
Mystery, thriller, romance,
Yeah.
crime, drama, fantasy. Uh, that's about it.
Yeah. Any preference on IMDb score?
This is vis-a-vis what? Preference.
Like IMDb score, you want that okay shows things that are plus 5 rated, plus 6 rated on IMDb.
Okay. No, but I think if I am looking up the IMDb score, it should be at least be above 6.5 or above 6, right?
Okay. Great. 6, 6. Yes. Please apply. Anything works, right? UAA.
Anything. That's
Yeah. Please apply. Yeah. Here's your taste of movies. And have you seen any of like are you finding any movie that you have seen or would interest you as a person?
I've seen Game of Thrones. I've seen Blacklist. Uh, Cruella is bad. I didn't like it. I've seen Walking Dead. Keep scrolling. Quiet Place. I've seen both of them. Bulbul I've seen. I love commentary method.
Yes.
Handmaid's Tale I love. Tenet I've watched. Breaking Bad, of course, I spoke about. Uh, yeah, lot of Ted
Yeah.
Lasso, where Peaky Blinders, Sleepers. I love that film, Sleepers. Uh, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, of course, yeah, that's all.
That's great. So this basically are the prompts that we on our app help people to find their like-minded recommendation. This filter works in that way. That helps you
Right.
find the most suitable part. Here you can just go to the movie, find the OTT it is streaming on, add to your collection, like, make it and add it to your profile. You will find all the details about the
Yeah,
movie, the cast, crew, everything, and related genres beside it.
right.
Thanks Aditya. You can just make me host back and stop sharing the screen. Great. So yeah, that was the only product part that I wanted to share. I hope it intrigues you and you try
Yeah,
the product anytime soon. And if you do, please let me know.
of course I will. Of course.
Great. My last question to end this with is, what's next for you as a filmmaker? What are you working upon?
So there are, multiple projects that I am kind of developing or I'm trying to look, funding for. So there is a Indie feature film, the road trip film. There is a soft drama, which is a series that I'm developing for NMR. And there are also a couple of other subjects which can only be made in Bengali. So maybe I'll quickly go make a Bengali film also. Uh, so lots of ideas and lots of exciting times.
Great. Great to hear that. I'm excited for your upcoming project. I'll also check your films that you made in Bengali cinema. I have not yet checked. I know the names. I did the research, but I have yet to experience them. So yeah, thank you so much, Pratim, for giving us your time. Uh, I would look forward to meeting you sometime in future. I also look forward to have this conversation ahead to discuss films because it our recommendation match is 7 on 10. Our taste somewhat matches in terms of what we see. So yeah, thank you so much for having to giving us the time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
As you are here for the first time, let me introduce you to Wall. Wall is a platform that will change how you interact with entertainment. It helps you in content discovery and assists you in finding where to watch your favorite content from the cinema. It is social network for cinema enthusiasts, helping you build your cinema community and your personal cinema diary. Recommend movies, make collections, and follow your favorite individuals to get new suggestions. Wall attracts thousands of film critic reviewers and consumers, and it provides a smarter way to consume your content. Download Wall now with this link. The link is also shared in the description. And let us know your experience.